Hello and welcome. So, I'm so glad that feminists have given me the opportunity to expose them once again, right? So, I did a little bit of research on feminist claims surrounding ecofeminism and climate change in relation to gender, right? And I saw this claim that women are 14 times more likely to die in climate related disasters than men. Okay, this is another one of these fake feminist statistics. Feminists have, over the years, shown to have this habit of making up statistics out of thin air. Okay, and let me just show you how I looked into this, right? So here are news articles like The Conversation, women are 14 times more likely to die in a climate related disaster than men. And here is also from The Guardian the same stuff. Women 14 times more likely to die in natural disasters. This claim is repeated in various news outlets and various big places like the UN. Okay. Now let's actually track this down. Okay. So it says here women are 14 times more likely to die in a climate change related disaster than men. And when you click on this source here, it sends you to this UN page. Women are hit hardest in disasters. Okay. And they also make this claim here women and children are 14 times more likely than men to die. And where's the source for that? It comes from a Twitter video, right? From a UN Twitter account. Okay, and it comes from this video here. This is their source, right?
Did you know that women and children are 14 times more likely than men to die during a disaster?
So, no sources on that, right? Just an empty claim, okay? And they even say women and children as if they were one category, right? And this is a common feminist tactic, actually, that they use the term women and children as if women and children are one entity and not separate people, right? Separate groups of people. Okay. So the Conversation article had basically no sources, right? What about the Guardian article for this claim that women are 14 times more likely to die in natural disasters than men? And they repeated here women are 14 times more likely to die in natural disaster and account for 80% of people displaced in the aftermath. Okay, we will just focus, for the sake of this video, we will just focus on the 14 times claim. Okay, and the source for that in the Guardian article is Women's Environmental Leadership Australia report. Okay, so this is the report that they're citing here. And they're repeating this claim here in the introduction. Globally, women are disproportionately impacted by climate change. They are 14 times more likely to perish in a disaster and represent 80% of people displaced by extreme weather. Okay, and when you actually go to the source on that, so this is the source that they're citing here, right? Gaspers et al. And this is basically the study, right? Gaspers. And what is the source actually that this study uses for this claim? So they're also repeating this. In general, women are more than 14 times more likely to die during a natural disaster than men. And this is their source, UN Women 2000, okay? Which gets us to this article here, okay? And this UN article has no sources, right? Absolutely no sources. It's just repeated here. Women and children, again, and children, are 14 times as likely as men to die during a disaster. So no sources, at all. No citations. Okay. Now, when I went to Google this, where this actually comes from, I stumbled upon this. It seems to be also a UN fact sheet. Okay. And also repeats this claim here. Studies show that women, boys, and girls are 14 times more likely than men to die during a disaster. So they added not just women, but also boys and girls, right? So again, this is a common tactic that they don't use women as a separate category to compare with men, okay? And they say here Peterson 2007. However, this is nowhere cited here as a full source, okay? So yeah, I had to Google this. I had to track this down, what Peterson 2007 actually is. So I came upon this report here. Seems to be also some kind of feminist white paper or something, right? Reaching out to women when disaster strikes. And they also repeat this. While disasters create hardships for everyone, women and children are disproportionately vulnerable. During natural disasters, women and children are 14 times more likely to die than men. Christina Peterson. Okay. So we're coming closer to the original source now, right? Okay. So this is the source, right? Peterson Christina. Okay. However, when you actually look for this link, you cannot find it. I found, for example, on Reddit here. They also tried to find it on Reddit. Okay. And it says here the article cites a UN fact sheet, which cites a white paper, which cites an internet page for a gender advocacy group, which doesn't cite a source at all. Okay. And it also says here, this source here, that this link is no longer a valid link. Okay. And there are no online archives to this link, right? I even checked with archive.org's Wayback Machine, okay? And no URL has been captured, okay? So there is literally no source for this claim. Literally no source for this claim at all. It is made up out of thin air, okay? Now, I also found this, this BBC podcast where they actually interviewed Christina Peterson, okay, the person where this claim originated, and she admitted that there's no data backing this figure up, right? This was just based on feelings coming from observation from people on the ground. So basically anecdotes, right? This has no data backing it up, right? So women dying 14 times as much as men during climate-related disasters is a claim that is based on feelings, not data, right? It is made up out of thin air. And yet feminists in the UN and in the media, like The Guardian, are still running with it, okay? This is insane, okay? I had to track down multiple citations, right? And it just, I just cannot find any source for it, right? Because there is no source for it, okay? Because it is a made-up zombie statistic, okay? And this is not the first time feminists have done this, by the way. There is, for example, this claim, like I showed in one of my last videos, that 99% of rapists are male. And when you actually look into this figure, there's no source for that either, right? So, again, let's just keep in mind that feminists have no credibility at all, and it shows again and again. Now, on the question of natural disasters and the gendered impact, what does the actual evidence show? The actual evidence shows, of course, that men are more likely to die during hurricanes, extreme weather, etc., according to National Weather Service. Okay, men and boys account for more than 65% of direct victims of hurricanes and more than 70% of deaths caused by lightning. Okay, according to the National Weather Service. And yes, this is cited by Fox News Weather. Okay, however, when you actually look at the National Weather Service, the data is solid. Okay, so they have a detailed analysis on the lightning deaths, for example. Males account for 79% of all fatalities and about 90% of the deaths in fishing, sports, and work categories. And then there's also a summary of natural hazard statistics for 2011 in the United States for all kinds of natural disasters: lightning, tornado, thunderstorm, wind, and hail. And says here, of the 2011 weather-related fatalities, males again accounted for more deaths than females, but the numbers were much closer than usual. 54% males and 44% female, with less than 2% unknown. In most years, there are almost twice as many male victims of weather as female, a pattern reflecting the higher percentage of men who hold outdoor jobs such as construction and who take part in sports and other outside activities. This year's closer numbers reflect the higher than average number of victims who were indoors but still became victims of tornadoes or excessive heat. Males were much more likely to be victims in all age ranges except the 80-plus categories, where the percentage of women who reach this age exceeds that of men. So across age categories, across different kinds of natural disasters and climate-related issues, men are more likely to die. It's a fact, okay? Here's also some data from Switzerland, for example, natural hazard fatalities in Switzerland from 1946 to 2015, and about 75% of victims were male in all natural hazard events considered together. Then there's also this great article on Medium: no natural disasters don't kill more women than men, okay, which totally rips this feminist claim to shreds. Okay, I will not read this whole article, just this bit here. What's more, data from the World Health Organization says that it's the other way around. Natural disasters kill more men than women. And I quote, turning to gender differences in fatalities from floods and storms for all countries with more than 10 deaths over the period 1995 to 2011 as presented in Figure 5, we find that in most countries the absolute number of deaths is larger for males than for females, since men generally exhibit more risky behaviors and engage in more dangerous activities than women. This might explain why men are more vulnerable to flood and storm-related mortality than women. Right, so men are doing more physical activities during such disasters, such as rescuing and protecting and repairing shelters and stuff like that, which even this Australian feminist report actually admitted, right? Note that for most countries, loss of life due to floods and storms do not exceed 200 deaths in the period observed. However, in tropical cyclone-prone areas such as Mexico, Japan, and the Philippines and the United States, the number of registered deaths from floods and storm is considerable, and male mortality is always greater than that of women. In Paraguay, Nicaragua, and South Africa, over 70% of flood and storm-related fatalities are men. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, it is a lie that feminists tell that women are disproportionately affected by climate change. Okay, it is a bold-faced lie, just as is it a lie that men are destroying the planet, right? I already debunked this notion in another video on ecofeminism. Okay, so yeah, this bullshit claim that women are 14 times more likely to die from climate-related disasters is a claim that has no evidence backing it up. This figure is made out of thin air, okay? And again, it's not the first time that feminists are using these types of zombie statistics that have no evidence backing it up, okay? So next time a feminist says something like this, like women are disproportionately affected by climate change, just send them this video and watch them squirm. Also, if you like this video, please consider joining the Pro-Mare Collective, the actual human rights movement for men's rights, okay? And also please support me on Patreon. Thanks for watching.